Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Advanced Bass Fishing, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to watch today's video. And guys, today I'm going to give you all some simple tips and advice that'll pretty much eliminate a lot of the backlashes you get with the bait casting reel. And this is something that everybody deals with, or I don't know of any company that has built a backlash free reel. But there's a couple things I can tell you that's really going to troubleshoot that a lot for you guys in today's episode. And sorry for the bumpy truck video today, guys. I've been talking about this. I have had one of those weeks where I have been so busy that I haven't even had hardly time to do a video. So I'm just trying to squeeze them in any spare second I got. And that's driving down the road here. So we're going to be doing that. Also, guys, before we get started, one quick thing I want to remind you. Solar Bat has got 50% off on my Signature Series glasses that I'm wearing right now. My Solar Bat Signature Series RB2 and RB3s. That's the RB3s I'm wearing right now, and you can get them at 50% off, half price between now and the end of the month. Also, you get a free hard case to put them in, free shipping and handling. So I'll put the Solar Bat link in the description. And guys, the optical clarity on these lenses are second to none. They're designed and made by Dr. Gary Nesty. He's a optometrist that owns a company, and he's a bass fisherman. So you'll never find a finer pair of glasses. So link in the description there. I really appreciate that. Okay, guys, backlashing, pretty simple way to, a couple different simple ways to do that. I'm going to just explain it driving here. Ideally, I'd have my reel in my hand, but can't really do that today. Okay, the first thing you want to remember is the way that you spool your line on has a big impact on how many backlashes you get. There's a couple different things you want to remember here. First of all, make sure that you pay close attention on the way that the line is coming off the spool. The spool of line that you're using, make sure it's coming off the spool in the same direction that it's going on your reel spool. It's really easy to get that mixed up. Sometimes you can have the spool turned wrong and you're actually putting the line on in the reverse direction, and that's going to cause you a lot of problems. So make sure it's going on the same way. Another thing you can do, guys, is make sure that you put a lot of tension on your line when you're spooling it. Don't spool your line with a lot of loose line or even moderately loose line. Make sure that when you're spooling that line on, that you're putting a lot of tension to where that line is seating down very firmly into the reel seat. And another way you can do this will even help it more is wet your line. A lot of times what I like to do is I'll take a rag or something and I'll soak the rag in water, and then I'll put the line in between that rag, which allows me to put pressure on the line and it lubricates the line. And that combination of seating that line, really tight when it's wet, coming off the same direction of the spool, is going to greatly reduce your backlashes. Another thing with that is make sure that you put the proper amount of line on a bait cast reel. The proper amount of line is not filling the line to the top of the spool. You want to leave about a 1/16 of an inch gap between the outside part of the reel spool for maximum casting efficiency and not getting much backlashes. You don't want to go much over an 1/8 of an inch, because if you go over an 1/8 of an inch, like if you leave an 1/8 of an inch gap, it reduces your casting distance. You're not going to be able to cast as far. So try to maintain about a 1/16 of an inch gap with that. Next thing you can do, guys, is really pay close attention to your magnetic reel setting and your spool release. Make sure that you dial it back to where, let's say for example, sorry I got a bad cold right now, guys, I'm sort of hacking. But the way to do that is when you adjust your reel tension through your reel tension knob, it's going to change every time that you put a different bait on, because the weight of the lure is going to dictate how much tension you put on that reel spool. So what you're trying to accomplish is, if you hold your rod tip in the air and you push your free spool, you want that bait to fall at a rate of about, say, a foot every 2 seconds. And if you're faster than that, a lot of times, if you're looser than a foot every 2 seconds, that is also going to get you some backlashes for sure. Another thing you can do, guys, is make sure before you make a cast that you don't have any loose line, like if there's no loops in your line, because if you have a loop in your line and you cast, that's going to be a real sure way to get a bird's nest. And finally, guys, when you cast, make sure that you have the proper amount of line between the lure and the rod tip. And the proper amount of line is about 2 feet. If you have less or more than 2 foot, sometimes you're asking for problems. About 2 foot is about perfect. So anyway, guys, that's just some quick tips you can do. A lot of it also is how much pressure you put on the thumb bar. That's just practice. I mean, one of the things that comes with a baitcast reel is you're going to get backlashes when you first start using them until you get to understand how much pressure you put on that thumb bar. So other than that, guys, that's some tips that'll definitely reduce your backlashes. So hope it helps out.